Today I wanted to talk a little bit about this sheet metal flanging machine. This is one of the machines that my sister company, Davenport Machine Co., produces. And this machine originally was made back in the 40s on up for the sheet metal for aircraft. And you know, the accuracy that they needed to turn a flange was very critical. And today I feel like turning a flange is still one of the most important parts of the panel. Generally, a flange dictates a gap or a fitment up against something, and you know, we want it to be right on. We don't want it even a 1/16 of an inch off. And the methods that we previously used, Polmax, speed roller, you know, they produce fair results, but not very accurate. And the difficult thing is they can only produce a very sharp flange versus the flanger controls not only the height of the flange but also the bend radius, and you can do larger bend radiuses, which in materials like aluminum is really nice for its ability to not have cracking issues. So I wanted to go through the steps of how I set up the machine, how I measure and figure out the exact point of where I want the flange to turn, and then transfer that to the new panel, which is a trunk panel for a 1933 Ford 3-window coupe that I've been making. And I will turn the flanges and show you how accurate, how precise, and just how nice this machine turns a flange, and why I feel like for a professional metal shaper it's a must-have tool. So let's go into first the setup of the machine, how we set the tolerances for the different thickness of material we're using, the height of the flange, make sure that all the clearances are right in the machine so that, you know, we produce a good part but also we don't damage the machine. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is set the clamping force. So this hold down tool will clamp down against the sheet metal part, allowing that to stay in place as the flange gets brought up. So we have a handle here that allows us to release and move this assembly up, which is nice to get your part out. But we're going to set it first here to adjust our clamping. So right now you can see we've got a lot of looseness here. As we tighten this down, we want to get this to a point to where it doesn't want to move on us. It takes a lot of force to want to move that around. So we'll lock that down. Lock this other part down. So there is our clamping force. Now, next thing we need to do is I have a piece of sheet metal here that's slightly less in height than the flange we're turning. We need to adjust the forward and back movement between the hold down and the brake head tool so that when it's up at full 90, there's clearance for the metal to pass. What we're going to do is we're going to crank and rotate the main assembly all the way up. Till we reach, there's a stop that prevents us from going too far. Okay, so now reach back. Rotate the brake head all the way up 90. So we've got a decent amount of clearance right now. I'm going to tighten that up just a little bit. So we have all these adjusted. There's just still a slight amount of drag, but we know that now that's not going to it's not going to impact the tool when we bring it up all the way 90 degrees. Okay, now we have the tooling all set up for the right thickness of material and the height and everything that way. We need to figure out the distance from the edge of the sheet to the actual outside of the flange, because that's generally what we're needing to find out to create a gap on a panel or to fitment on something. So what we'll do, put our calipers to 1 3/4, because this is an 1 3/8 die, and I will scribe a mark. Then what we'll do is we'll turn this up 90, and then we can measure from that mark to the outside of the sheet and deduct that from 1 3/4, and that lets us know exactly how far to trim the sheet so that it'll turn to that exact edge. Alright, so we'll rotate this about 7 turns. To set our initial pass. Now this part of it acts as a guide, allows the sheet metal to follow that the whole distance and never lengthen or shorten its length. There's our first pass. Another about 7 turns. Make sure we're keeping pressure against those fingers. Okay, now at this point, the bend radius is set tight enough that on the next pass, we don't have to push forward as much as we can just keep it steady and maybe pull back a little bit against the hold down tool. That'll keep that rocking from happening as much. Here's our last 90 pass. All right, now there's our 90 flange. Got a real nice 16th inch bend radius. Real consistent. And if you can look careful, you can see the scribed line. So now if we take this right against that, come in. So we're at about 0.483. So basically we would take the 1 3/4 minus 0.483 to give us the exact distance from the edge of the sheet. If we have a mark on our panel, how much to trim so that we get this exact outside measurement. And if you needed the inside, just deduct there again the thickness of the material from that number. Hey guys, thanks for checking out the video. If you have any questions, just leave some comments below. I'll be posting more videos of the flanger and the next steps in this process, so check back often. Thanks.